Hello, my name is Frances Fox. I'm a trained remote viewer. I have all my psychic skills trained, honed, practiced, uh, checked out. Today, I want to talk about your vibration and your frequency. And the reason I'm going to talk about it is because of a new vibration that's on the planet, which is the number 44. You should look up what the number 44 means in numerology, which is the study of numbers and their vibration and what they signify. The father of numerology was Pythagoras, which is, I believe, the father of modern geometry. I don't know anything about geometry, but I just think that alone means we should kind of respect him. And through the centuries, people have respected numerology to the point where a lot of important people that make important decisions use numerology to make those decisions. Jesus Christ was a 33. That was his vibration. That was in the age of Aquarius, the age that we're leaving now. And it was the highest vibration that you could achieve. And of course, he achieved it. We're in a different place now. The ending of a cycle, age of Aquarius, age of Pisces. Now we're in the age of Aquarius. And so the number 44 is attainable. Not that you should try to look for it, but when you see it, you should recognize it and go, wow, I could get there in this incarnation. So I asked the dolphins to tell me what the vibration 44 was about because nobody had achieved it before. It wasn't really available on the planet. So what's been said about it may not be everything that we should know. So I asked them, and I will read to you now what it is that they said. Give me 1 second. No, I am not wearing it because it took me, somebody's asking me if I'm wearing my labradorite necklace, and I'm not because it took me forever to figure out what necklace to wear with this very cheap shirt to make it look better. And I did not put on the other necklace, and I'm not going to right now. So if anything happens, we can say it's my fault. But getting back to vibration, let me read to you what it is that the dolphins have to say about the 44 vibration and tell you who I think is carrying that vibration on the planet today. And what they said was Christ was a 33 vibration. 44 vibration, the number 44 vibration is even higher and has to do with access to superpowers that Christ did not have, as it was not appropriate at that time. That's why the age of Pisces is over and the new age of Aquarius is here, not fully open or available to all, but it is available to those who have the values of that vibration. That vibration of number 44 is that of Christ, but with a larger audience, more depth, and more magic. Kind of neat. What is the vibration? Who has that vibration today? And I know everybody's going to say I'm obsessed with them. Trump and Elon Musk. It's a different vibration. In the time of Christ, you couldn't become a multimillionaire. It simply wasn't part of the equation. We're in a different place. So you could have that very high spiritual vibration and be a multimillionaire, which was really not the case before. But you have to have those qualities of the age of Aquarius. Which brings me to one of the downfalls, if not the biggest downfall of the age of Aquarius. So in the age of Aquarius, it's all about community, brotherhood, everybody's created equal, hierarchy is gone, Great. But the age of Aquarius, it was also predicted that there would be an incredible increase in mental illness, which we are seeing. Now, they didn't say why there would be an increase in mental illness, but in Chinese medicine and in Ayurvedic medicine, mental illness can be attributed to I don't think exclusively, but I'm not sure, to having a hot head as of too much of the fire element. When you decrease that heat, you can decrease that mental illness. And the problem today, one of the attributes of the age of Aquarius is a vast augmentation of technology, which we see as electronics, and especially personal electronics. We have so many of them around us, all of which radiate microwave. Microwave heats up, it heats tissue. You put a piece of meat in a microwave and it gets cooked, which is what you're looking for. But if you put microwave next to your head, it's also cooking your brain and your tissues, which will give you the hot head that they talk about in Ayurvedic medicine and Chinese medicine. So this is really important to understand, that even though a lot of people can achieve the vibration of 44, which is maximum spirituality, superpowers, plus the economics to match, which has not been the case before, but you can be set back if you have not balanced the elements in your life. Now, I wasn't trained in shamanism. I didn't know what shamans believed in before I went and started working with regular people, the public. For me, the shamans were the guys from other countries that would show up in flowing robes, looking like Jesus Christ, and giving these magical healings that were really not that big a deal. I remember one time somebody saying, please watch him while he's healing and tell us what you see. And everybody loved him. He was even on TV. Oh my God, he was great. Long white robes, long hair, gorgeous. And I didn't say a word. And they said, well, what do you see? And I didn't say a word. And what do you see? I said, I don't see anything. I don't see anything coming from his hands or his heart or anything. I mean, I'm sure he's doing a really good job. I don't see any movement of energy. And I should have seen movement of energy. He wasn't really that big a deal, but he looked like Jesus Christ. So my God. And he was a healer, and he was gorgeous, and he was available. So he made it to the top for a little while in terms of television. And then he disappeared into the night with a couple of angry husbands after him. That's not a joke. So back to the 44 vibration. You can achieve it. You can achieve a lot of things today that you could not have achieved before at all. But you have this thing lurking, which is this mental illness thing. It may not be you. It could be one of your kids. It could be all the kids around you. So you have to get yourself educated in terms of how do you balance out the fire from the electronic equipment? Because the electronic equipment is not going away, but you can balance it with water, beach, flowing water, rivers, documentaries that have a lot of water in them, movies underwater, going out on the boat a lot, making all of your vacations near bodies of water. And you can use our sensory therapy with Mateo Cuarón's music, which practically all of them, if not all of them, include water. Whether it's frozen water having to do with the glaciers, but it's water, putting out the fire, because that is the number one thing that is destroying our children. And it's because we didn't understand the basics of human health. Modern medicine, maybe some of those doctors don't even know what the 4 elements are. So what does that say about the vibration 44? That a lot of our children that were born to reach that vibration are not going to reach that vibration because we didn't know. We don't know. Not enough of us know about the balance of the elements in terms of keeping you healthy in all of the different dimensions, not just the physical body. So it's time to get people educated. And because it's not so difficult to have that contact with nature, which you could have through a documentary, which you can have through our sensory therapy videos that include these images of water, moving water, etc., mountains. Um, we've got to get moving on that because too many of us, and I don't think anybody will deny it, notice that our children they're not strong. Actually, when I started to write the book that I haven't put out yet on my discovery and unraveling of string theory, which has to do with the human mind, I have a quote in there, but I got that about 15 years ago, how children are not as healthy as their parents. Literally, their heart, and that was before the plague and the injections, their heart was 15% weaker than the hearts of their parents. That's never happened in history, the part of history where we have the documentation. And that can change. So between the fact that the hearts are not as strong and the microwave, the radiation, and the stuff with the plague, we have a couple of generations of children that are their vibrations are very low, and they're not going to reach the 44 vibration that they could reach. And it's not a question of wanting them to be very spiritual. We're not talking about God all day long. We're talking about a vibration that is compatible with this era. It's like going someplace. If you're going to go to the beach, you don't go in high heels with your tiara and your ball gown that has a train. It's not appropriate. It's not going to work. You're not going to get into the water with that. So we have to be appropriate to the era. We're just getting into the age of Aquarius, and most people are not aware of it. It is an era of incredible expansion of human potential. And they really don't talk a lot about spirituality. What they're talking about is the human mind and an expansion that's incredible. I'm not sure that they even talk that much about superpowers because I think that most people don't actually believe that that is an ability that humans have because we've been sold the whole story that mythology is just a story when it's not. The mythology is a documentation in history of times in which we did have superpowers, and then something happened, of course, this big battle, and it got taken away. But people, that was just a story, right? So you don't believe that. We've got to get back to unraveling where it was that we were told that mythology is a story, and yet you have to study it. And we have to get with the program for this age of Aquarius this time. And we have to watch the people that appear to be achieving incredible things. That's like miraculous. How can you do that? How can they do that? Their energies, their values, their behaviors are compatible with this era. This is something we need to teach our children. We need to look at ourselves. At the same time, we look at the negative part of the age of Aquarius, which is the augmentation of technology, which I believe is the reason for the other prediction about the age of Aquarius, which is the vast augmentation of mental illness. So what is your number in numerology? I have no idea. I'm not a numerologist. As a matter of fact, I'm so not a numerologist that when I moved, I decided I was going to make sure that my address was compatible with whatever it is that I wanted at that point. And I went through the whole process of changing the address of my home, which is a big deal because you have to do a lot of legal papers. And then it turned out that the number of your home is not just the numbers, it also includes the name of the street, da 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 da. So what I did was a waste. And I have no idea if I set back my frequency by choosing a different number. I didn't know enough. So I'm telling you, don't start doing things that are very big unless you consult with a numerologist. I don't have anybody to recommend, which doesn't mean there's not anybody out there. I'm sure there's a zillion people out there that are really good. It's very interesting, but I'm not that into numbers, so I don't know that much about it. But for some reason, yesterday, the number 44 came up, and I said, you know what? I want to find out about that number 44. And I had suspected that we are able to achieve that vibration. Now, we don't have to wait. So I'm going to be changing the format of the show because we're using it as a podcast. And it's a little bit complicated for people that are listening in their cars to listen to 10 minutes of music. They're not even able to see the mantra. So I'm going to do the part of this that is your mantra with the sensory therapy and the Mateus Cuarón's sacred music at the end. And you should stay with us and do it because it makes a big difference in terms of changing your vibration. But I need to modify it for the podcast because I believe that I will be getting a lot more people via the podcast than here on video. A lot of people don't get up on Facebook and YouTube, and that's fine, but they do podcasts. And by the way, you should recommend this. And you should also give us feedback, which I don't get a lot of. Now, we know already that certain platforms erase all the comments that are put there. We have to tolerate that a little bit longer. But you can always email us. And the email is francis@francisfox.com. And we would appreciate it because this is our mission. This is the reason why we went through all the misery we went through to be able to reach a lot of people with this new information, which is a heck more fun than the old system. I have a university degree. So it's not like you can really make it to the top without a university degree. I have a university degree. That's not the point. The point is not to have it or not have it. I guess the point is to work with what is important. But numerology has been important throughout history. Astrology, all the important monarchs and kings and all the rest of that, they all used astrology. I'm not an astrologer. I do weekly horoscopes with my psychic abilities, but I have a lens to the horoscopes, which is I put it through the lens of I want to help you evolve so that you can be everything that you can be. And so my horoscopes go through that lens, and I'm going to tell you what it is that you need or what you're doing or not doing that's blocking you from raising your vibration, which is what evolution is. But you really need another type of astrology if you're going to want to check what dates you should be launching products, launching space shuttles, getting married, starting a business. You all know this, my story. I had a radio show that was incredibly successful in terms of people liking it. But I had an astrologer on, and she said, I'm so sorry. This show is really great. Everybody's talking about this. Was years ago. But I don't think you're going to make it. And I'm like, okay, so what am I doing wrong? She says, when you started it, the date's all wrong. You're getting no support from the planets. So many weird things happen. I'm not even going to go into it. But one of the weird things that happened, which wasn't so weird, was that the setup for my radio show was right where my router was, the router for my home. And one day I decided to see what was going on with the router, what kind of energy. So I just kind of switched my consciousness to see the other dimensions, where it is, if there was any damage from the router. There was a huge portal because of the microwave. This was 15 years ago, maybe 20. So maybe my radio show was going to go down anyway, even though eventually I did find the fact that water and earth do put out fire, radiation is fire. So do those two things, and then we put together the sensory therapy and the music and the sound, and we are able to balance off that. But that alone, plus the planets did not support it. So I'm giving you all this stuff, which you can apply to your personal life, but you can also and should apply it to your business, because throughout history, and you guys already know that, the really powerful people used astrologers and numerologists and shamans, and many people feel that that's because they were superstitious, and it was years ago. They really didn't know anything. The Egyptians didn't know anything. Look at those pyramids. I think they did. The Egyptians had contact with the ETs, back and forth, no problem. So why would they be so dumb that they would use all these alternative, what we call alternative? For them, it was baseline. Don't set a date for a coronation until you make sure that the shaman, the astrologer, and the numerologist sign off on it, because why on earth would I want to put that much effort in something that's going to have all those energies against it? And then, of course, purifying the intention to have that happen, because sometimes we have intentions that we don't really want. It's like I meet entirely too many people that they're dragging themselves. They're not happy, nah, 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 the way a lot of people are today. And then well, how long have you worked at your job? Oh, no, I've had my company for a long time, 18, 20 years. Okay. And you still like it? Oh, yeah. I mean, it's my company. I do well. I mean, why would I change? I don't know why you would change, but I have to say this, 18 or 20 years doing the same thing without changes. It could be within the company. You're an intelligent person. You're going to get bored. And you're not going to know that you are subconsciously sabotaging because you really are not that stimulated any longer. So, again, another piece of information I can give you and from personal experience, you need to check. I noticed in retrospect that in the company that I had that I left after 30 years, and I should have left several years earlier, or I would not have been on the verge of bankruptcy. I should have, but I didn't know. In those years, and we were immigrants from Cuba. So in those years, you just kept trucking. You just kept, if this is working, why would I let this go if this is working? And it's working well. It's been a long time. Well, you create reality. If you are not happy, if your consciousness is not happy, you're going to start to create something different, which is what I did. I was on the verge of bankruptcy. I remember my lawyer saying, wow, you're really tough. Honestly, you were bankrupt and yet you're still standing. Yeah, actually, I can get run over and I stand back up again. But you're not supposed to do that. That's why I'm doing this, giving you a little bit of information. Does that mean you have to quit what you're doing? No, but it does mean you need a change. So in retrospect, I looked at my business and I noticed that every 7 years, which is a life cycle, I made a huge change in my business. When I first started out, we did custom dresses, wedding gowns. And after several years, I noticed that you can't make money that way unless you're one big deal designer from Paris. And I was not a designer. I never said I was a designer because I'm not. But unless you were a big deal designer in Paris after many years of poverty, you would make money. And I remember I said to my mother, who was my partner at that time, I said, I notice that the people who do this for a living, they don't have nice vacations. They don't drive decent cars. They don't have decent homes. Why is it that I, who am not a designer, why do I think I'm going to be able to do better than them? I'm not. And I don't even like this. So I said to her, we either change this or we're shutting down and I'm going to go get myself a regular job. So we did change it. We stopped doing custom and we did retail. And then we took it to the top many years, but we took it to the top and it's even better because someone else took it over and they are in love. Because when I fell out of love, that's when everything started to go down. And there we go again, infusing your business, your job with love. Does Trump love what he does? Oh my God. Come on. Look at him. Yes. Yes. Does Elon love what he does? Yes. He's getting a little tired. And that's something that we all have to watch for. And Elon needs to watch for. He's getting a little tired because when you get tired, it can affect your mood, which will affect your intentions. It reaches a point where you just want everybody to go away. Go away. I can't. I'm tired. What happened to your intention of more, bigger, better? It kind of got knocked down by the exhaustion. So that is something I want to remind you of. And this sounds like a coaching session. That's okay. I do this a lot. Coaching you in terms of how you earn a living, running a company, if you're an employee, or if you run the place. All of these things are valid, including the astrology, the numerology, etc. One of the ways that you can see if radiation is an issue for the people who work for you, because that's real important, because they are making your product or giving your services or yourself. And I have said this before, if somebody has dry mouth and they're under 70, they are too radiated. because dry mouth is when you don't have enough liquid in your throat chakra. But if you're under 70, what dried it up? Unless you're on heavy duty chemo or something like that, you're not going to get dry mouth unless you sleep with your cell phone. Here we go back again to the technology in the age of Aquarius. You cannot sleep with your cell phone and expect to ultimately be left standing. Forget about achieving the vibration of 44. You're not going to be a happy camper. You're not going to be a healthy camper. You're not going to be who you are. You're not going to get the frequency you would have been if you didn't sleep with your cell phone. So, and even if you go, every vacation is at the beach and in mountains, you're not going to be able to eradicate the whole sleeping with the cell phone issue of radiation. So, and the people who say, oh my God, but I have to have the cell phone because my kids could call. Yes, but guess what? On the planet, we all had kids throughout the centuries, and we didn't have cell phones, and they were healthier than they are today. So don't talk to me about the fact that your excuse for sleeping with a cell phone is your kids, because it doesn't hold water. Anyway, your kids need for you to be well. So I have not sketched you before you came in, and I'm curious because things are changing a lot and for the better. There's a wonderful vibration in the air. There's horrible news on the news, and yet it seems to be a validation of stuff that we kind of knew, and it's kind of good that it's coming out. But I haven't sketched you, so I'm going to do that right now, and then we're going to go ahead and do the mantra. And I'm going to decide which mantra it is that we should be doing. We got new stuff going on. Definitely new stuff going on. Okay. So we have, this is your center axis, which is literally your holy grail. It's in the shape of a double terminated funnel, like a chalice. We are getting in galactic energies. Oh, you can hardly see that, darn. We are getting in galactic energies. I can just see somebody from the Galactic Federation saying, somebody please tell Francis to get better pens. Okay, got it. These are galactic energies that are coming in. Our center axis, our Holy Grail, is widening. There's only 2 times in history, it's what I'm getting now, that this has happened to this extent. And that was when the Egyptians built their pyramids. And right before the Mayans were able to successfully evolve to the point where they just disappeared, and scientists today still don't know what happened to them. So 2 times. When the Egyptians built the pyramids, I know there's pyramids across the world, but that's not the information I'm getting now. I'm getting when the Egyptians built the pyramids, which was not 6 days and it wasn't 6 years either. It was a much wider span of time. And when the Mayans were able to lift off gracefully. And they're the only culture, the only group of people that have been able to lift off gracefully. The Egyptians didn't. I don't have the article available here to read to you quickly, but basically what I was told many years ago, and I did not share it for a long time, was the Egyptians that built the pyramids had intimate daily contact with ETs, who were the ones who guided them in the building of the pyramids. But they were not working with good ETs. And so they did all this incredible stuff. And then whenever they got too cheeky, like with the Temple of Babel, I just realized the connection. Those bad ETs hit them behind the knees and everything came tumbling down. Now, supposedly that happened in the Second World War also. That everything was built up for the Nazis. And then at a critical point, the ETs clipped them behind the knees and everything came tumbling down. So this is going to be the 3rd time in the history that we have access to. Those are the words I'm getting. The history that we have access to, that our center axis, our Holy Grail, that cup, that chalice that receives spiritual energy, God's energy, energies from other planets where we're from, energies that we need, not necessarily like astrological energies. This is the third time that that center axis widens to the extent that it is widening, and it's going to get much wider, which means that we very quickly need to accustom people to not only the fact that there exist ETs, oh darn, why are they still debating that? We don't have to just accept that ETs exist other places and they might come visit us. We have to accept that they've always been here. There's many more coming in. There's going to be an integration with them that we've never had before, but it's going to be a mess because there's too many people that are still dealing with the spirit the kid says comes out of the closet at night. And we're going to have so much more. So many more of them, good and bad, coming in, and so much more inside of us that has that resonance. That's a lot of power. So I did not expect this information. I like it. And this, I didn't sketch this to show you my theory. I sketched this and then I read what it is that I'm sketching and why the center axis is bigger in all of us. Now, this started to happen in July of 1998, because that's when I started to sketch people's mind streams. And the center axis was basically pencil thin, like that. And in 1 month, it went from pencil thin to actually being a channel that I could see. And I asked an astrologer, I said, did something happen in July? I think it was 1988. I know it was July. Did something happen? And she's, well, a lot more light came into the planet. Exactly. This opens up to off planet, our connection to God, spirit, but a lot more than that. And when we do the cutting of the implants that are like the ones that are in the movie Matrix, when I cut the ones at the top of the head, the crown chakra, which means you get unplugged from this energy that is really bad for you and you never asked for and you're not supposed to have. When we do that, it's a huge difference in a feeling of well-being of people. Huge, huge, huge difference. It's like, just feel well, like a sense of optimism. And I noticed today, because I made this discovery about these things that are plugged into us a couple of months ago, when we are giving sessions in which I charge very little to cut them. And I encourage people to learn to do it. And I'm going to actually do a video with even more details and the different things I've learned. But I went on so much, with so much information, I lost my train of thought. I realized today, because we've had these implants since humans started on the planet, what we were told was that in the agreements in setting up the planets and having beings live here, which we call human beings, we were to have free will, but implants were permitted. Here's the trick. We've had them since the beginning of the planet. Who has seen these implants? I'm still looking for somebody that has been actually able to see it other than the movie Matrix. So the last time I did classes on this was like a week and a half ago. And I myself was forgetting it. Like you forget. It's like a veil comes down and you don't remember. Now we already have them set up for a week and a half from now. This is not a sale that I'm giving right now. It's not a sales talk. What it is a reminder that whoever controls us to some extent or has influence is able to make us forget things that are really very important. How could we forget that? As a matter of fact, in Tibetan psychiatry, they have classifications of spirits, and there is a classification of spirits that make you forget. And they make you forget the stuff that's obviously important to you. So you'll remember this stuff that's not important, and then you have something that's really important, and you don't remember. It's like, oh my God, how could I have forgotten that? And today I was thinking, how could I have forgotten about the implants? Like in terms of if you have an issue, like happiness, you're going to want to go to your pancreas, which is in your solar plexus, and just keep cutting the implants there. Because if it's a recurring or continuous or forever issue for you, it's hard for you to be happy and to feel that you can be happy. Those are the implants from that energy center that you need to cut. And today I was thinking, why haven't I done that? The veil, they call it the veil of forgetfulness, el velo del olvido. And you know what? When you break off a relationship, that veil doesn't come down. The spirits, they don't want to use the veil then. They want to keep you in a little spiral of compulsive thinking about your loss. They're coming back. They're not coming back. Did they love you? Didn't they love you? You know what they do? And you're like, what? No. Put down the veil where I don't remember. No, they're very intelligent. Those spirits, actually, they don't have to be that intelligent, but they are. Look, they help build the pyramids. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do a mantra. So that being said, raising your vibration, and it's blue. I specifically wasn't going to use blue ink, but it is blue. So let's go for the third eye, which is where superpowers are. And honestly, if we're going to be competing with ETs, we need access to our superpowers because they obviously have them since they're born. If they're born, who knows? Okay, so let me get the mantra for you. Be patient while I choose it. Do we want to do, let's do, even though I'm afraid to see. I'm not sure I want that one. No, even though I'm afraid to be a master. Because the 44 is when you've achieved mastery of the age of Aquarius, which they do not talk about priests or saints in the age of Aquarius. They talk about everybody being community, etc. So I don't think that religion is going to make it past a certain point because it doesn't have the vibration. There was something funny on X today. I can't remember what it was, having to do with religious figures. Okay, let's go ahead and so then I am going to put the music on and we're going to have it on for 10 minutes. And I'll come back and say goodbye. But basically, if you're listening to this on a podcast, there will not be any important information after this. So that you will not be missing out on anything. Okay? And that we're doing in order to make sure that this is fair for the people that are listening to this in their homes and in their cars, etc. So we're going to give you third eye because that's where your mastery is, being a master. Here we go. Okay, we have finished. The mantra was, even though I'm afraid to be a master, I love and accept myself. Mastery is in the third eye. The third eye is real important. Don't be afraid of it. Go for it. Okay, we'll see you again. And thank you for joining me on Francis Fox News from Other Dimensions. Good night.